Hi there, everybody. I just want to welcome you today to Boundaries with Coach Megan. I cannot wait to introduce the amazing guests that we have on today. But before that, I just want to let you know if you do need help with boundaries, go right to helpwithboundaries.com. I would love to be able to get on a free session with you, explore what boundaries in your life that you might need help with, and to navigate, and you are able to just be in a safe place, and we can peel back the layers of the onion to see what distractions are just robbing you of your peace and joy. So today I am so honored to have such a great friend and sister in Christ, Bethany, with me. Hi, Bethany.
Hi, I'm so grateful to be here with you, Megan. You're just one of my favorite people.
And I could say the same. And I can't wait to share with the audience how we met. But just before we get into some of the things, Bethany, I always want to say, and I want to make this loud and stand on the rooftops and say, in our mess, God is never confused. I know we all have so many messy seasons, and as Christians, we kind of, I feel sometimes we're not as vulnerable as we need to be, and we kind of just shrink back a little bit because we don't want the judgment, right? So you had some messy seasons in life, and God has completely redeemed you. So can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the fun stuff?
I can, but I'm tearing up already because God is never confused. And it is messy. So a little bit about myself. I am just getting into my 40s, and I've been a Christ follower most of my life. Since I was about 12. I have a wonderful, supportive, loving husband and three kids. One I homeschool and two go to private school. And my job is I'm a handyman and I love it.
I love it. And I have to say, you do have an incredibly beautiful family. And when it
Yeah.
comes to parenting, people really need to take notes from you and your husband, just because of the fact how you put your marriage first, and then your kids come next. And there's just such a beautiful God's order in your family. And it is remarkable to watch. So thank you for being part of my life and being able to watch that. So today, let's talk a little bit about your mess. We had the privilege of meeting about 9 months ago.
Oh,
And when we met, you were in a really dark place.
oh, friends. I was in a very, very dark place. Uh, the bottom line is I was trying to do everything on my own, right? And I got overwhelmed with work and I was not listening to the Lord. And I had an eating disorder for 20 years. And when I reached out to Megan, it was at a fever pitch. Here I am ministering in my church, and from the outside, I look like I've got it all together, but I'm bulimic, and so I was binging and purging, and it was such a hard season, and it was so dark. My husband and I were considering inpatient treatment because I was binging and purging like 3 times a day, and just the emotional toll that takes. You just feel like hopeless, because especially when you've been dealing with it for so many years and fighting it, you're just like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. And so I reached out to Megan because we have a mutual friend, and it was God used her, and God did amazing things in the last 9 months.
Wow. I'll never forget that. I get like goosebumps. I'll never forget the day that we met, and your body language.
Mhm.
You were almost curled up in a ball in a chair almost. You were kind of like, I think you were downstairs in your basement, I believe. And
Yep.
it was dark, and it was just like the dark feeling. And, I have a fellow coach friend who says, the dark basement of our heart. And that's the visual that I saw. But
Yeah.
emotionally, that's where you are. It was that dark basement of your heart. So what made you, going into that decision of going into inpatient, there's so much fear There's so much hopelessness going, I don't know if I could do this, and
Yep.
what made you say to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna address this, and I'm gonna tackle what was happening?
It really came down to a self understanding that my self-sufficiency wasn't sufficient.
Mm,
Um, I was trying to do it all, as we as women, Christian women, we try to make our home great. We try to parent our kids well. We try to minister well. We try to do our jobs well. And I was just crumbling under the pressure of, I don't know if it was looking good, but like succeeding, like being effective in all those areas at the same time. And I guess crumbled is really the right word. The reason we were looking at inpatient is because we just didn't, my husband's so sorry, gentle and tender, and while we were weighing me going away for 3 months, which is huge, it's a huge admission of how bad the problem is. And we just got to that point because living the way I was living was not even remotely manageable. I was not happy. I was stressed. I was discouraged. I was hopeless, and just fearful, and like, this is never ever going to get better.
yeah. When you say that, Bethany, thank you for just, bringing those feelings back and explaining to the audience where you were. But I can't picture the Lord separating you and your husband for 3 months. Like, knowing you guys now, like I just couldn't, but I couldn't
Yeah,
wholeheartedly see that happen. And God didn't want that for you, obviously.
no, no, he
Um,
did.
so in the midst of this eating disorder, when it's controlling you at this point, you're not controlling it, right?
Oh no.
You're
Oh
trying to
no.
overcompensate all the lack of control in your life,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Can you explain to us what was that emotional stronghold that the obsession of the food had on you then, and how did it start breaking, those chains start breaking 1 week, 1 month, another month? What
Ooh.
did that look like?
Oh, this it looked like a lot. And anyone who's listening, Megan is a wonderful, I will cry again.
Mhm.
Um, I will never forget our first meeting in that basement when I'm curled up. Oh no, I did not plan tissues. Megan said to me, I know you don't believe it right now. And that will never, ever leave me,
Mm.
because she said, you can have feeling or freedom from this. And because any of you who have struggled over and over and over again with the same sin or addiction or thing you just can't get past, you don't believe that it's going to be okay. I think um that's where I was in that basement. And I remember sobbing, and Megan just going, I could tell, I didn't even know her then. And I could
Yeah.
tell she just wanted to hug me, but she
Mhm.
couldn't. And she just said, I know you don't believe me. And something in me cracked, being like, I have nothing else. I have to believe her. Because the other thing is like, my Christian faith is very strong. And I know from scripture that there was more that I was missing, like even having been in ministry, been in Bible study, been in personal devotions and reading my Bible, I knew there's an abundant life where you
Yeah.
can be happy and filled and just spirit led and peaceful. And I did not have it even a little bit. So how did that look? You said that was the question, right? Um, the first part looked like disbelief.
Mhm.
I did not believe, like, I cracked, and there was like this teeny tiny piece of hope that was like, if Megan really thinks I can do this, if she really, really thinks and she's going to walk alongside me in this, then maybe I can. And that was just one thing I've learned about. And I know this isn't about Megan, but over and over again, she has spoken into me encouragement that this is not just a season, that it's going to keep going, that it's going to keep going. God's going to keep doing stuff. And it's not the old mindset of try and fail, try and fail, try and fail. And that has dramatically changed my life. So the first step was not believing it was possible.
Yeah.
And we worked through a lot of the life recovery steps. Because for me, the food is such an addiction. And dealing with that over the next 9 months was kind of like the main piece of what we dealt with. And we did some things personally that made me feel safer. So like I feel safer on like keto. And so we did that, because then the sugar isn't like more sugar, more sugar, more sugar. And so I remember those first few months being terrified, terrified of even like looking at sugar. Like I was so far away from sugar, I couldn't. It was like we often equated it to alcoholic being like, I'm not going near a bar, not going near a bar. So we did several things to keep me safe. The Lord used the Potter video. And it just showed me that he can use me where I'm at, but where he actually wants to use me is so much more effective. And like the things that I'm holding on to are keeping me from fulfilling the Lord's purpose for me. And in that, though, I didn't sense condemnation. I sensed the Lord being just like, oh, you are so valuable and I want to use you tremendously. And that's what I felt from that, because my whole life, usually it's like, oh, I'm doing this wrong and I have to fix it, and it wasn't. It was the Lord saying, Bethany, I can only use you this much right now because you're holding on to this thing. So let's give me this thing, and then I can use you fully. And it was such a loving invitation from the Lord to go deeper. In the last book by C.S. Lewis, they say they're going up to like the kingdom, and they say further up and further in, like you're a Christian, right? And every stage of your life is different, but you always want to go further up and further in to know him more. And there's always more. And it's so exciting. Okay. So those were pivotal. So it's been, I say sober, it's been 9 months. I've been sober. I have not binged and purged. And the Lord gave me some freedom to start eating carbs again, but there was still a battle with food. Like I knew that I worked through some physical pieces of it. Like I understood that I drew a line in the sand, and at night, when I really, really struggled, I would pray. I would be like, God's way is better. God's way is better. God, I know your way is better. And it is, but it was hard. I don't want people to think that the work is just going to happen easily. It's not. You really have to dig in. But so all this started last December. In the spring, I started eating sugar and carbs again. And all through the summer, like my daughter was so sweet. She came alongside me and she like, Mom, I'll help you make like meals so you don't have to make so many decisions. Because it really, really was, the food still controlled me. And I thought about it a lot, and I always wanted to eat it. And I wanted to go to it as my safe place. And then just recently, this beautiful thing happened, and as the last 9 months, the Lord has stripped away so many things. And a gigantic piece of my eating disorder is my body image.
Mm,
And I think that's the case for a lot of people.
yeah.
Um, and he's so good. I knew something was not right because I was still just so drawn to food and drawn to feed my flesh and to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And when I asked the Lord a couple weekends ago, I said, Lord, I said, I know something's not right, but I trust you. I want you to sanctify me. And this was hard, people.
Hmm.
Lord, I said, Lord, you have done so many amazing things in my life in the last 9 months. I mean, I haven't binged and purged, which was since I started the longest it's ever been, even
Mm,
through 3 pregnancies and nursing and the hard choices that I made. And he said to me, he said, okay. I said, I will be obedient. I want you to show me. I want you to sanctify me, and I will choose to be obedient. And in a couple, I
mm.
thought, well, it might be months.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was content in that because I trust the Lord. You look back at all he's done in your life and you're like, how could I not trust him? Because in my mess, he knows the plan. And so he cracked into the last piece that I was holding on to. So for me, I realized that in the diet culture, and if you're listening to this and you've ever dieted or done Beachbody or Advocare or Plexus or any Weight Watchers,
Hmm.
there's such honor in your before and after
Yeah.
pictures, right?
Hmm.
There's such accolades for having
Hmm.
lost the weight. There's such ooh, look at me, look what I accomplished, look what I did.
Yeah.
And the Lord said, everything you've ever felt about losing weight is all wrapped up in yourself.
Mm,
And I was ready to hear it.
yeah.
I could not have heard it 9 months ago.
No. Mm-mm.
And ooh,
Hmm.
and I wanted to hear it. That's the other thing
Yeah.
too. I was pressing in to
Yeah.
see. I'm excited by what the Lord's doing, which is a place I've never been in my
Yeah.
whole life, because I always felt like you had to do this and you had to do this. But now I'm like excited to like give these things to the Lord. And so he said, you want the honor. I said, oh no, yes, I do. I
Mm.
want everybody to honor Bethany for the great feat that she accomplished. And I want to be impressive and I want to be skinny. And these are words that have
Mm.
blocked my relationship with the Lord, right? And so I said, okay, Lord, I said, I want to honor you. And the gigantic realization was that I could never lose weight without him anyways.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
so he gave me several I am statements. You know how
Yeah.
when he, when Moses is talking
Yeah.
to the Lord, he says, who are you? I am that I am. And he said, I am the one who can have victory in your life. I am the one who can accomplish these things. I am the only one who can do this,
Mm.
because I've tried for 20 years and haven't been able to do it.
Bethany, oh my gosh. Like it's just like breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. And I mean, just to you're like, okay, I'm ready to hear it. And your trust level too. That's where like it's just grown so much because you're like, yes, God, whatever I bring to you, I trust that you're going to take care of.
Yep.
Now, in our mess, God is never confused. And you had this eating disorder 20 plus years, and now being raised in the church
Mhm.
and being a Christian, where did you see that? Could you bring this to the people that you were surrounded by? And if you couldn't, why not?
Oh, you mean in my past?
Yes.
Um, I think a lot of us, if we've grown up in the church, we grow up with a level of the good Christian,
Mm,
right? Like everybody's supposed to be a good Christian. And I remember being in youth group thinking, well, I was thinking this about my youth pastor. I'm like, well, I know you messed around before you got married. Why are you holding us to this higher
standard.
standard that you couldn't even accomplish? And so I feel like no, no, I tentatively reached out several times,
Okay.
carefully to people, and nobody was equipped to talk to me through it. Yes, they loved me, but they're like, I don't know what to do.
Mm. I'll
Like,
pray
I
for
don't,
you. I'll pray for
yeah,
you, right?
I'll pray for you. Which I
I know,
appreciate,
I know, I know.
but
But this is
like,
life or death at this point, right? It's like,
yes,
yeah, it's crisis
yeah,
mode here, right?
yes, it is.
Mhm.
And if I had somebody who was open and could talk about hard
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
that was a huge piece of it. I grew up in a culture where nobody talked about their mess. They only talked about what the Lord was teaching them and how, and all the good things or,
Mhm.
and that's not, my heart is authentic. And I was so
Yeah,
saddened that like nobody could deal with it.
yeah,
And not that they couldn't deal with it, but like, I didn't have somebody to be like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's do this together because we
yeah,
need to get you to the other side. And
yeah.
that's where I am with people. I don't
Mhm.
know exactly how to help people, but I am here for you. If you can give this to the Lord in your 20s and not your 40s,
Yeah,
what a beautiful testimony,
yeah,
And I think that's what I had just not regret because obviously the Lord has done so much in my life, but like it could have been abundant longer.
yeah. It could have been abundant earlier.
Yeah.
In the last couple minutes of our time together, you do come alongside those teens and you do come along those adolescents in the church and you are in ministry. And what a gift God's going to use you because I mean, if this eating disorder starts when you're 15, 16, now you're able to come along those side those teens. So share a
Yeah.
little bit about how you come alongside those teens, the ones that are just I know they're your
Yes.
passion. Yeah.
Oh, friends, I love messy teenagers.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people can't and don't. I love the snarky looks. I love
Mm.
to crack through. I love to make them smile. I love, love to make them feel safe
Yeah.
because so many teenagers don't feel safe.
Yeah.
Not safe in a physical way, but just in a, I'm going to accept you no matter what you say.
Mhm.
And so my heart, yes, I'm a handyman, but my heart, I'm also a coach and I come alongside teenagers and parents who need to talk about yucky things, whether it's eating disorders, which is rampant,
Yeah.
rampant, and pornography use
Yeah.
and same sex attraction. All these things are things that my heart says these kids need somebody to just
Mhm.
be next to them as they work through this and uh, see how God wants to work in their lives with it.
Yeah.
I have a very slow opinion of how change should happen. As a Christian, we often are like, you have to stop this and you have to, and that's not how I work. Not at all.
Mm-mm.
I want to come alongside somebody and have them say, I started throwing up my big meals. What do I do? I said, okay, well, let's talk about it and not say, oh my gosh, you have to stop.
Yeah.
That's not my heart at all.
And that teen is gonna come along and say and you're gonna say, "Let's talk about it," because it's
Mhm.
not the food, it's the heart work that is
Yep,
causing that, right? So what is it in here that's making you get this out here, right?
exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
you're so gifted, when it comes to and there are so many parents, and I see in communities after communities, they're like, "My teen just brought me this information, and
And I
I'm
don't know what to do.
scared, and
Yep.
I don't know how to guide them, and what can I do? And the team just needs sometimes someone to
Just
come
to
alongside them
talk.
and be heard and be like, you
Yes.
know what? Yes, these feelings, these thoughts, they're normal,
Yep.
right? They're
Yep.
hormonal.
Yep.
They're okay.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. They just need, oh, somebody who doesn't care about their actions and just cares about them.
Yeah, so good. Well, I think, we need more Bethany Peters in our world, like all over the place. Bethany, I just want to thank you. I mean, breakthrough after breakthrough. And we need like 2 hours really to talk about. Maybe we'll do
Yeah.
another episode of, well, we will on other pebbles
Yes.
that came up
Other
in your
messes.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, other messes that came up. You addressed one crucial mess that God was working through, and you addressed it, and you were obedient to step into that. And then another pebble came up and you addressed it.
Yes.
So I think we'll have to have a second episode. But Bethany, I want to wholeheartedly, I want to thank you. I love you. And I want to ask you, so if someone needs to get in touch with you or needs to talk things out with you, how do they find you?
I'm not very visible on social platforms because I really feel like if the Lord leads you to reach out to me and you want to talk to me, you can. I have a website, coachbethany.com,
Awesome.
and it talks about what I really like to talk about. And on that, you can book a free session, and just if you need me, just talk to me. I'm here for you.
Yes.
And so
And
that's,
not only are you there for the parent, but you're there for the
oh,
team. And
yes.
that's
Yes. The teens are my heart, and I'm here in solidarity with the parents.
yeah. Well, I just want to thank you, Bethany, and thank you for letting me come alongside you and your vulnerability and your honesty. And I'm looking forward to the next time we have this conversation, because it's going to be a different mess that God was
Yep.
never confused during it.
Yep.
And you were so obedient. So thank you, Bethany. I
Yes.
appreciate you.
Yes. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.